Yo, what up everyone? Duped here, and I'm here to show you my endgame build guide for Infernalist, Witch, Skeletal Brute Summoner. Sit tight, we're going to jump right in. The first thing I want to show you guys is the skills and the skill gems that we use. So we have Malice, which is coming from our weapon. It is much preferred over the melee skeletal minion weapon because they block the brutes and they get in the way. We do not want that. We want Malice. You could use one of the purities for tankiness, but Malice is definitely the best. We're going to go right down here to the Infernal Hellhound. It's a core part of the Infernalist builds for Summoner, at least early. He takes 20% of damage from hits before you. Very good defensive layer. The first thing I have on him is Ruthless for more stun buildup from the dog, just to help the brutes out. We have Culling Strike, because Culling Strike is amazing for especially killing boss enemies. We have Strip Away, which is just increased exposure effect. And because we have this, we're also using fire exposure. They took the damage nerf off of this, so it's like even better, but he's always igniting. So with the fact that he's always igniting, he's always inflicting exposure. It's really good. And then +1 to fire mastery, hit harder, get more health, just in general, just a good gem to put on him. This is the setup for now. And then we move on to our Skeletal Brutes, which we only have 4 linked. It's all I found so far. We don't have anything else 4 linked. I'm doing pseudo solo self-found. I'm basically just trading with my homies, a couple of the other people that I know that play. So Skeletal Brute, he's going to have Heft, more maximum physical damage. It's just an insane gem, super good for them. We have Feeding Frenzy, 30% more damage is nuts. The 20% more damage taken is perfectly fine. They're very tanky, and also we're going to use clerics. Minion Mastery, +1 supported gems. Just makes him stronger, makes him hit harder, better in general. And then we actually use Immolate. This is because between the Flame Wall, the Summon Raging Spirits, and your dog always igniting people around him, this is almost just all the time 30% increased extra damage for free. So very good. Then we move on to Skeletal Clerics. By the way, we have 9 Brutes right now. The core for almost any summoner build is going to be a lot of spirit. So you always want to get a lot of spirit, get as many as you can. We're rocking 9 brutes right now. We're rocking 5 skeletal clerics, as you can see up top. This is what I've been playing with lately. The clerics don't have too many options for supports. We have the 30% increased cooldown recovery rate, so when you're sacrificing your brutes up front for your offerings, your mages will almost instantly revive each other and revive them, so it's like no downtime. As you can see, they get instantly revived after they die. Get instantly revived again, pretty useful. We're doing Last Grasp because oftentimes they will just die because they're squishier, and this will keep them alive for a little bit longer to cast more reses, etc. And you can actually use minion instability because they have a lot of health, so they die, the explosion goes off, and then they just live for 4 seconds and still res people. Pretty cool, just some little bit of free damage. Also, it's fire, just max life as fire is good for us. We got the exposure going on, so it works out. And then we're running Pain Offering, which is super important. It gives 48 more percent more damage at this level, and more is insane in this game. It's additive, so it's more than it adds to the base before the multipliers. If it works the same in PoE 2 as it does in PoE 1, I'm just assuming that it does. So absolutely insane. We have Magnified Effect on that, so they can run further away and they still all turn red and get beefy. We have Persistence, because I want this to last longer because it costs a lot of mana. And then we have Ablation. And this sacrifices your health, which we don't really care about that much, and 30% more damage. Like, what? It's just insane. And increased effect. It's just good in general. We have Bone Offering too, and I'll show you why we use 2 offerings in a little bit when we take a look at the tree. But we have Bone Offering, which puts a shield on your minions when you press it. As you can see around them, they have these little bones, which is pretty cool, and they explode for damage after they expire. Unfortunately, the tooltip doesn't tell you how much shield you're actually getting from these, but I imagine it's pretty insane. It seems really good, and it does an explosion after. You can see the damage for that. On this, we're running Font of Mana and Font of Blood because it just gives you mana regen and health regen whenever you're around it. As you can see, I'll get the buffs up here. So it'll just increase your life that you used for this offering in the first place. It's a good... with Vitality, just gives you enough life regen to stay alive. And then Elemental Army, because if the Bone Offering breaks, then your shield goes away on everybody. So having this thing be a little bit tanky is pretty good. Vulnerability, Physical Mastery, Hex Bloom, so whenever enemies die, it curses the other people, and Heightened Curse. Vulnerability is insane. It decimates the armor. It just makes you blast. You should use it on any fizz-based build, no matter what, for sure. It costs a lot of mana, though, just forewarning. It is almost half of your mana if you use all the multipliers, so it will take a while before you're able to put it in 3 casts, and I'm completely oom. So Hex Boom is important. Grim Feast seems to be a staple for any energy shield based build that's minions, because why not? It's absolutely insane. It doubles your energy shield in the maps. And also, if I'm not mistaken, you can pick up souls when you sacrifice your own minions in the map. I don't think it works in the hideout, but I'm pretty sure you can. Move on to Summon Raging Spirits, which is why we use the Flame Wall in general, just to spawn the Summon Raging Spirits. We're not blowing them up or anything. We're giving them attack speed with martial tempo. We're giving them Fire Pen, so they absolutely just hit harder, and we're giving them Overpower, so they cause more stun buildup for the brutes. We don't want to put stun buildup on the brutes because we want them to just have damage and then be able to heavy stun after the threshold gets up there. We don't want them to actually build it. That was kind of my take on it. I don't know if it's better or worse than what other people are doing, but I'm having a good experience with it right now. On Flame Wall, we just wanted to be faster cast speed, faster being able to cast it when you move around, and inspiration. So they actually kind of nerfed it a little bit, but you can't really tell. Mobility's still really good in the patch. And then inspiration, just because the curse costs so much mana, we want this to cost as little as possible so we can spam it. As you can see, it barely touches my mana. I've been playing with a Skeletal Sniper a little bit, but I would say don't use it right now. I haven't found a good way to work it out, and 9 brutes just seems like they blast way harder. Alright, that's all the skills that you need to know. You don't get the brutes until level 13. Once again, just want to reiterate, you'll have to play something else like arsonists to level up. Makes it really easy. Just a quick thrown in clip of me using the skeletal arsonist to kill the boss here. This is while I was leveling, and I really had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of picked an early skill that looked cool and started building around it. I just used flammability with the arsonists and flame wall with summon raging spirits. Just make sure you keep the summon raging spirits low enough health to where you can blow them up right when you summon them. You'll have a super easy time. As you can see, we're stunning the bosses. We're destroying the bosses. Also, to my understanding, a lot of people play this right up until endgame and play it through the endgame. So if you like these minions, you can also play these. I just used them for leveling until I could get brutes. Let's take a look at the skill tree. So first, we'll look at the ascendancy points. I would say always first, you'll go to Hellhound, because it's going to make you more tanky in the axe when you don't have access to a lot of energy shield. It's just free, literally, damage from hits. And hits are spells or attacks. As long as it's not a degen or a dot, it's a hit. So really, really good defensive layer. Next, we go to Altered Flesh, which seems like it might not help because of the fizz damage taken as chaos, but it's actually a lot easier to get chaos res than it is to get physical damage reduction on witch, especially like armor. Doesn't seem like you have access to a whole lot. So you want to just get life and take this and cap your fire res and your chaos res as soon as possible, and then worry about the other two afterwards. After that, what we go to is Beodat's Hand, and that's after we've been getting life on everything, as many strength nodes as we can in the tree that we don't need int for. We're taking life, we're taking strength, and then this will give you a buttload of energy shield. And then when you get this is when you can actually start focusing on energy shield gear, and this is when you would put on Grim Feast, because it starts to help a lot. Your last ascendancy that you'll get is just 1 maximum spirit per 25 max life, because it's really awesome. I mean, you get 2 free skeletal brutes, you get clerics, however you want to work out your thing, this is where you get it from. When we started out leveling, what we did, we took the path up here, which is pretty basic, and then what I did first was I wanted the revive for the arsonist, so I actually took these revive nodes when I was leveling up. I think the revive nodes are really good for leveling up until you can get brutes, and then as soon as you get brutes, as soon as you get your energy shield ascendancy, you want to drop all the revive faster, because you absolutely don't need it with the clerics. You don't need a single node of revive faster. You want to get all the attack speed that you can first. Any off node like this you can do last. This is like access points where you're pathing, but you definitely want the attack speed and the movement speed. You definitely want the attack speed here for sure on this wheel. And then the damage down here and the extra crit is good because they're big damage wheels, so you can path to that. But I would go over here, and then I would path up and across, which is what I did. And I got these nodes right here, because they're just insane. And then you can start pathing this way and taking survivability, more damage, more energy shield, more reses, etc. like that. So the damage is good through the campaign. You don't really need any defenses. You can just use damage pretty easily. You want to make sure to grab these reses here, because the minions are going to need res eventually. This is a good chaos res node. This is also a good chaos res node right here. And it's fizz damage reduction, so these are two huge defensives to go for first. Now, the reason we use 2 offerings is because if you have this right here, you get area of effect, but then lust for sacrifice, 40% increased minion damage while 2 offerings are up, and it's really easy to have both of them up all the time, and they benefit you anyway, so super good nodes. And I'll just glance around the tree one more time so anyone can take a look and pause it wherever they need to. And feel free to copy that. I actually took a jewel socket over here right now. It's also just something that you can do if you have a decent jewel, but your points are your points. And as long as you're taking the minion nodes, then you're basically good. Okay, for items, this part is kind of important because you want to get as much energy shield as possible. And keep in mind, I'm pseudo solo self-found, so I can't just go to trade and buy the perfect items, but I can tell you what you would want to get in a perfect world. So we're trying to go for life on energy shield bases with energy shield and spirit. Those are like the most important things. For the helmet, you can't get spirit, but you can get plus minion skills. So we want life, energy shield, and plus minion skills, and then capped reses. It's like the top priority. So you'll take energy shield and life on everything, spirit and reses. Boom, simple as that. This unique shield, super awesome. My buddy Jixer found it for me, and 50 spirit. I've legit been using it since like level 25 or something. It's amazing. I can't figure out a good reason to replace it except for maybe with a huge energy shield focus, but 50 spirit is insane. Amulet, same thing. It has spirit, life. You want to get energy shield. I haven't found a particularly good one yet, but yeah, same concept. Rings are just going to be reses and chaos and life. Boots, you're going to want an energy shield base. Mine's armor energy shield, but you're looking for the same things, you know. Movement speed, energy shield, life, reses. Gloves, same thing. Energy shield, life, reses. Belts should have charm slots. I still haven't found one yet. Crazy. Weapon, this is actually an important piece, and you should remember to quality your scepters because you get a lot of spirit from qualitying your scepter. Mine has 76 spirit, pretty good, plus 3 to minion skills. That's actually the only 2 things I was looking for, and everything else is just icing on the cake. There is an allies in your presence deal increased damage, and that would be, I mean, that would just be an insane scepter. You would just have, like, you beat the game basically at that point. So yeah, scepter plus 3 increased spirit for me was a priority. Mine has 211 spirit with 20 quality. To me, that's nuts. So that's what we're working with right now. One more thing on the build section. If you guys get 5 sockets on your brutes and you manage to find that 5th gem, then what I would recommend doing is taking away 1 brute and 2 clerics and doing it like this. And then adding skeletal archers, adding 3 of them, and I would put bidding, lacerate, and rupture on your skeletal snipers, and then that way they're bleeding. And for your last skill gem on the brutes, I would put, sorry, I have to remember what it's called. I didn't plan on putting this in here, but I feel like everybody should know for late game. You would put Bloodlust. So this would be my 5th gem if I got a 5th gem, and I would make my archers bleed, and then you get 30% more melee damage against bleeding enemies. They are always going to be bleeding. They have 50% chance with each shot. At least on bosses, this is going to be a lot of damage. So yeah, if you want to add archers at the end, feel free to do that. I think it will be the strongest thing to do. But for right now, it's 9 and 5 because I only have 4 gems. Let's see. Okay, so for leveling, I'm going to have to put a little clip of the Arsonist in after this, but you are just going to level with Arsonist, and you're going to go those revive nodes and take all the minion damage and attack speed. And you can basically just run the brute gems, except for Heft. You'll put like Immolate or something in, just run the fire gems until you can get brutes when you get level 13 skill gems. I would say aura priority is definitely summon Raging Spirits first, and then as many minions as you can get until you can run Grim Feast. As soon as you can run Grim Feast, throw that thing on. It's insane survivability in maps. It's absolutely nuts. Another option for very, very end game, after you get the gear, is you could potentially take away Beadat's hand, and you could go Beadat's gaze, and you could go mana instead of energy shield, and take mind over matter, which is right here. And then you would use this belt, which I found right here, called Midnight Braid, and you'll get 50% damage recouped as mana, and instead of energy shield in the tree, you just take all the mana nodes. I imagine that that's going to be an insane defensive and feel really good, but alternatively to ES gear, you would need gear with life and mana rolls instead, and then I would recommend them being probably flat armor bases if you're going to go the mana build, and you just life stack and mana stack, and you don't worry about energy shield. Haven't tested that, so disclaimer, if that's not good, it's not good, and you tried it, congratulations, but I think it will be probably insane. It'll probably be more flat defensives than using Grim Feast, because you have to kill monsters to recoup that. And yeah, guys, that's it. If I forgot anything, please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you guys have played it and how it's going for you.